Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining us from worldwide. I'm Sterling. It's great to have you back on the channel. This show's being recorded on Saturday, September 13, 2025, then released to all media platforms on Sunday, September 14, 2025. As always, these shows are provided for entertainment purposes only. All the information I share with you comes real time through my guides, angels, extended spiritual counsel, ETs, famous people from history, so for entertainment purposes only. Also, if you just remember to like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell, all those things help the channel. And last but not least, if you'd like to join our Platinum membership on YouTube, the join button is on the front page of the YouTube channel, Sterling Psychic Medium, as well as the website, sterlingpsychicmedium.com. Allows you to participate in live streams I do each week on Friday mornings, Pacific time zone, and access to hundreds of videos in the archive. If you're new to the channel, we gather questions for these shows from our YouTube page in the post section. There were 1,000 questions this week. My wife, Linda, then goes through them, comes up with a representative sample. I think today we have 66 questions I'll be answering in real time for you, so happy to do that. A couple quick footnotes, a little housekeeping at the top of the show here. If your question is not answered on a particular week, you're welcome to put the question back in again. As you can appreciate, with 1,000 questions, not everybody's question will be answered, but you're welcome to put your question in again, and it very well possibly could be answered on a following week. Also, just a quick reminder that we talk about what's called the AIM strategy every week on this channel. That's related to the 45 administration that's currently in place, the IMS, and that stands for the analysis, investigation, movement around military and movement, and then separation. A lot going on around the administration right now, but the AIM strategy refers to electronic election interference that took place. So a lot of people always ask about that. Always just want to tell you that that's ongoing. We do hundreds of predictions actually over the number of years here on this channel, and we actually put hot off the presses up on our community board, our post section on the YouTube channel. Some predictions come true in hours and days, and some take a number of months. So I'm just a telephone to the other side, happy to provide the information. But I want to kind of get that out there because a lot of people ask about the AIMS strategy. Okay. On that note, let's get going on today's show. Question 66 in the countdown. While racial profiling remains unconstitutional, a recent U.S. Supreme Court ruling has been heavily criticized for giving federal agents a green light to engage in practice against Hispanic and Latino communities. The decision, issued in September 2025, temporarily allows Immigration and Custom Enforcement agents, ICE, to use factors like perceived ethnicity, speaking Spanish, or working in certain jobs to justify stops and questioning during raids in the Los Angeles area. Will there be any repercussions for the Supreme Court regarding this decision? Yes, but not directly just to this one decision. It'll be collective. And I see that we've got, years of kind of questionable rulings by a very conservative Supreme Court. It'll be the collectiveness of a lot of those rulings that'll cause a lot of the justices to actually resign. Some will come under heavy pressure to resign. So this will be part of the collective decision making that causes justices to actually resign. It won't be just this one, okay? 65. NATO is starting to defend their member countries. Do you see that NATO will strengthen Ukraine's defenses against Russia? Do you think this strength will prevent a third world war? So yeah, I do not see and have not forecasted from my team that there's going to be another like third world war. However, a lot of NATO countries have been very active in providing humanitarian aid, military aid, financial aid, significant support already to Ukraine in help and defense against what's going on with the Russian aggression. This will continue. So, yes, I see that really helping Ukraine's effort. And we're actually starting to see the tide move, if you will, the tide of strength and some of the really the battles and the insurgents that's being won by Ukraine. Okay. 64, during the recent House hearings on UFO transparency and whistleblower protection, the room was shown a video of a U.S. Hellfire missile firing at a UFO or UAP, and the missile bounced off the UFO. Why did this take place? So this is due to anti-gravity propulsion systems that all UAPs, UFOs have. It uses very exotic materials. Combination of those rare earth materials are not found here on Earth, but that's actually part of what's called the anti-gravity propulsion system. It creates a plasma effect around the UFO or the UAP, and in fact, creates what a lot of people refer to as like a force field or a force shield. Yes, that is why the Hellfire missile bounced off the UAP or UFO. 63, what are the reasons for being in a particular soul family? Are we assigned to a group of several thousand souls with each to share reincarnations on Earth? So it's actually the one source, the one force that millions of years ago when souls were being activated, not created, but activated, right? Souls are infinite, they're energy based, can't be created or destroyed. But millions of years ago, when souls were being activated, one source, one force designated certain groups of souls into what they call soul families, soul groups, in order to kind of collectively, cooperatively learn lessons here on Earth. You don't come down with the thousands of soul family members every time, select individuals and groups. But yeah, it's actually started off millions of years ago. 62, does Mother Earth have guides and angels working with her, similar to us having guides and angels? Earth works primarily, or Gaia, with the one source, the one force directly. Now, there are a number of angelic or angels that actually harbor and hover around Earth and help with different natural disasters. But overall, the Gaia energy works directly with the one source, the one force. 61, will more humane methods of sterilization and be implemented for controlling the overpopulation of cats and dogs? The current medical procedures deny young animals of important hormones, which can lead to longer-term health problems. Yes, genetic engineering and science around CRISPR technology within about 10 years here as well for animals will be available. It will start to help with the overpopulation problem. It'll be much less invasive types of surgeries required to kind of help with this issue. 60, will there be a cure or treatment for bone growth in muscles and tendons? Yes, kind of along the same lines, but within 15 years, 15 years, there's going to be some genetic science engineering on CRISPR that will actually be very beneficial in terms of new medications, and some will be administered in a kind of a shot form that will actually contribute to the body being able to regrow elements or cell structures in this area. Yes. By the way, I'm just being reminded that One of the reasons to say this particular ailment for humanity is like 15 years out and not more like 10 years out. A lot of the initial genetic engineering science developments or breakthroughs will be focused on things like neurological disease, Alzheimer's, and various forms of cancer, pancreatic cancer, breast cancer. A lot of, I call it the low-hanging fruit in kind of humanity's diseases, okay? 59, New Mexico will become the first state to offer truly universal, no cost child care for all families, regardless of income, starting November 1st, 2025. This groundbreaking initiative, announced by Governor Michelle Grisham, it looks like, aims to save families an average of $12,000 per child annually and is funded through a constitutional amendment that allocates a portion of the state's land grant permanent fund to early childhood education. Will other states follow their lead in the near future? Yes, I see half a dozen states by the end of 2026. So it may pushed out a little bit, but I do see half a dozen states following this particular child care or credit here that New Mexico is implementing. 58. Graphite is a sophisticated and highly invasive mobile spyware sold by the Israeli company Paragon Solutions, and it has been recently linked to state-sponsored surveillance and potential human rights abuses. It is known for its zero-click exploit capabilities, which allow it to infect a target's device without any user interaction. It has recently come to light that the 45 administration has lifted the pause on ICE's deal with this Israeli company for advanced spyware. Do you see ICE getting access to this spyware and using it to ramp up efforts against immigrants? Do you see ICE targeting opposition journalists or activists through this technology? Well, yes to all the above. So this spyware is already implemented across ICE. I already see it. And it's implemented across many other areas of government. So this technology of no-click spyware has been around for at least a decade, and many companies are working on it. So yes, it's actually out. So everybody has to exercise extreme caution. You know, there's no perfect solution here, but you do have to take steps to try to protect, you know, what you have, what you say, what you share. But yes, I mean, this is actually technology has already been deployed. It's already out there. And I see several companies actually pushing forward in this same particular spyware technology, this kind of no-click spyware that ends up on mobile devices and then can actually activate your microphone, your video camera. Yes, it's out there. 57, any way for us to determine if we're on a 7 or a 10-year life cycle? Yes, an easy way to do it, really easy. Most major developments in a life cycle occur kind of around the middle of the life cycle. Remember, all life cycles are like chapters in a book. So think about major events in your life: birth, death, marriage, divorce, new career, loss of a career, major elements or a big move. And look at that. And that is kind of around the middle of a life cycle. So when you can look backwards in your life and think about some major events, if those seem to tie around 10-year cycles, your 10-year cycle. Otherwise, there's another way to do it. Every time somebody starts a brand new life cycle, predominantly everybody has the feeling, who am I, what am I, where am I going? So it's very common. When you start a new life cycle, what's life all about? Where am I going? If you think back in your life and think about what time periods did I kind of have that feeling, if those occurred kind of 7 years apart, obviously you're on a 7-year life cycle. If they occurred 10 years apart, so that's a good way to do it, kind of a rule of thumb. And most people, if they take some time to think about their prior life experiences, they can easily kind of navigate towards and ascertain, oh, I'm a 7 or a 10-year cycle. 56, what do you see related to the Charlie Kirk incident and the effect it will have on our elections, politics, our society going forward? Who and what was really behind the incident and the real motivation? You know, first off, I do see during Charlie Kirk's life review, I mean, we all start a life review, we go on the other side. He really understands. He kind of overstepped a lot of boundaries when he was here. However, whatever his intentions were, and we don't get involved in kind of direct intention, but I do see he kind of overstepped his boundary and created a lot of division and a lot of hate down here. So that's all part of the life review going on right now. I do see this incident, believe it or not, as a tipping point in society and in government where more people are waking up to what's important. What do we need to do to bring society together? So remember, everybody's life path is interconnected here. I do think this is going to mobilize a lot of individuals on both sides of the aisle to try to move towards solutions that are more helpful. Look, it won't happen overnight, but this will be one of several catalysts that is going to help move things forward. And interesting enough, when I looked at this incident, when it came up this week, I saw it out in the news. I was telling my wife, I said, this is absolutely, I saw it was a lone wolf incident before they identified the individual. I saw that it was somebody that really had a real bone to pick, right? And I also saw for some reason there was a female component to it. Not that the shooter was female, but there was some igniting issue around maybe LGBTQ plus issues or disrespect for women or something here that was also connected with this. I think this is all going to come out as some of the rationale behind the incident. But yeah, so I do see this as a tipping point, one of several tipping points here that are going to occur in society, and a catalyst for some change. 55, the government in France collapsed today. What does this mean for the future of France? Will democracy prevail or will the right wing take over? I see France is going to continue to have major difficulty across politics and the economy and rights issues and be kind of far right led for at least another 5 years out through 2030. So it's going to be a rough and tumble sort of experience for France at least for another 5 years here until things start to come back to normal. But remember, everything moves in waves around the world. And so what's going on in the US creates waves all around. And as things start to get corrected, even in the US and with the world leaders, but about 2030 here, the right wing will continue to have a very strong influence in France, is what my team's telling me. 54 on the show, Just Tap In with Amelia Ortiz. You talked about hybrids living on Earth for many millions of years now. Are they aware that they are hybrids and they know their mission? Can you share someone in history who made significant contributions as a hybrid? So yes, hybrids are always aware they are hybrid. It's all part of their mission. Hybrids are combinations of extraterrestrial biological DNA and Homo sapiens sapien biological DNA. If anyone tells you they're a hybrid, be very cautious. Rule number one in the universe involving hybrids, never allow to disclose their hybrid until full disclosure takes place. That's all part of the gift or the magic or the way it works behind the scenes. Hybrids are here to help. But because full disclosure has not taken place, the world would not adapt to them correctly. So I would say just be very suspicious or cautious. If anybody says they're a hybrid, probably not. Okay, I put it out there. But that's rule number one, hybrid. You have to maintain anonymity and do the work you're supposed to do down here, but not call it out until full disclosure takes place. 53, will Ukraine eventually win the war against Russia? In a sense, potentially, we're going to get to peace. But remember, my team has always said here for actually quite a while, a couple of years now, that it's actually going to be about 8% of the region of Ukraine that end up going to Russia. Not fair, not right, but as part of the negotiation process, some of the territory that's already inhabited. And my team kept using the percentage about 8%. So if that's winning the war, that's really classified as winning the war. But that's because it comes to a conclusion, that's kind of how it's going to end up and manifest in the end here. 52, I have read a great deal about manifesting. I've tried with manifesting with little success. If the thing you are trying to manifest isn't in your path, what's the use of manifesting? So we could dedicate a whole show here to talk about manifesting, and we have instructional videos up under our membership on YouTube, the Platinum membership. But in essence, if you can think it, it is on your life path. Does that mean it's going to go through to completion? No. So, if you think, for example, I really want to develop a pet store, you might go through all the actions of developing a pet store, but maybe it's not right for you. Maybe you end up working with an animal hospital or an animal rescue. But if you can think it, it is on your life path. Remember, there are no accidents. It's all part of the blueprint down here. But remember, whenever you work with the three C's, that's very important. The three C's of manifesting are to be clear, concise, and consistent about what you're manifesting. That means writing it out to yourself, picking a specific date, looking at it every day. But the reason you do that, that allows your angelic team, your guides and angels, to physically put the right people in your path. People that manifest well, they look like the luckiest people in the world because things keep happening for them. That's because your guides and angels know exactly how to help you. So never wrong to try to manifest something, but the intention, following the three C's, clear, concise, consistent, and being open to whatever lessons you're supposed to learn through that experience. 51. Hi, Sterling. I'm wondering if you've ever been in contact with the Skinwalker Ranch researchers and team while they are trying to figure out what's on the ranch or in the mesa. No, they have not contacted me to date. Perfectly willing to talk with them, to meet with them, but they have not contacted me directly to date. 50. What is coming regarding the divine feminine energy in the world? We've been out of balance with men in control, even in Congress. Only 154 women, but 381 men. Will future women presence leaders, unlike historical women rulers, be more about peace than war? Yes, well, the divine feminine energy that's coming around the universe is not focused just on women per se. The divine feminine energy is all about hope, compassion, love, understanding. The divine feminine energy sweeping over the world affects everybody in the world, on the planet, men and women alike. But yes, what's coming here around the 3-decade reset, the year 2020 to 2050, more compassion, more focus on humanity, well-being, really to everything to the benefit of humanity. So yeah, it's actually it's going to help a lot of countries and nations. 49, we experience so much catastrophic weather globally. Will global warming ever be healed or reversed? Yes, but you're not going to see any major significant change until about the year 2035. So a lot of things are going to be done between now, the year 2035, to try to swing that around, turn that around. Control of greenhouse gases, a lot of things happening. But it's not going to happen until really about 2035. You'll see progressive change. But yes, we haven't lost the ability in humanity to correct that problem, and we will. 48. Lawrence R. Spencer wrote a book called Alien Interview about the account of a military nurse called Matilda O'Donnell McElroy. She claims to have been the only person who communicated with the sole surviving ET in the Roswell crash. Is this a true account, or did the author make it up? Was there really a surviving ET that the government interviewed telepathically through this nurse? So I've read on this before. This was a real interaction by the nurse. However, all the information that was communicated was not interpreted 100% correctly. And my attention's brought to the fact that I think something was said around that the Earth is a prison school, and everybody is in prison, and everything on the planet is a mirage, or we're living in a matrix, or certain interpretations of the information that weren't accurate. But there was a communication event that occurred, yes, between this nurse and one of the surviving extraterrestrials in that Roswell crash. 47, I've distinctly heard a voice call out my name and awaken me from sleep at least twice, maybe 3 times. It definitely doesn't feel like a dream. Who or what is this, and why does it only happen when sleeping, not during my waking hours? These are your guides trying to connect with you, and a lot of times people have their logical mind so strong in the waking state that you don't allow your spiritual or your creative mind center to connect with the other side. So when you sleep, you relax your logical mind. These are your guides trying to reach out to you and really just start communicating with you. 46, I've heard that a small portion of our light body or soul is here with us on this plane. is the three-eye atlas bringing the other part of our light body or soul to us for reunification? No direct relationship to any of these concepts. Three-eye atlas is a natural space phenomenon. It's not extraterrestrial. I can assure you that the large groups of extraterrestrials I deal with and work with, they have cloaking devices for a lot of their ships. They don't come barreling through space and say, "Here I am, here I am." But this three-eye atlas object has no direct relationship to part of your soul, your light being coming to you. Your soul actually exists here on Earth. Your entire soul DNA is connected with you here on Earth. You don't leave part of it anywhere else or part of it in heaven. People talk about how to communicate with people if they're reincarnated. Well, there's relay points in heaven. It's not part of your soul. But anyway, no direct relationship to the three-eye atlas and reuniting your light body soul or anything of that nature. Different kinds of concepts, and some are not accurate. 45, since America is no longer the country the world respects, we no longer have the likes of Canada, Mexico, and even Europe. How are we going to deal with the triad of China, Russia, and India in future conflicts? So this is a relatively temporary situation that the U.S. is going through. It's going to get corrected. We got a few years to go. It's going to get corrected. Yes, there are other countries joining forces like they always have. There'll be other countries unifying with the U.S. again. We're going through a bad period, if you will. Don't have to go into all the detail. Many of you out there in the world understand that. But the kind of reunification and the reestablishment of trust and goodwill will come back around in a few years here. So it's going to go in a cycle. 44s. I so enjoyed listening to your recent interview, Sterling, and the last one you mentioned what an extraterrestrial would actually look like. Well, I can imagine they run the gamut. Are they mostly very tall, or do they look beautiful and ethereal? Most of the extraterrestrials I work with, predominantly Pleiadian and Arcturans and some others, are quite tall. Some people call them Nordic ETs. I get it. Some Arcturans are not really tall. The ones that I work with are tall. They look a little translucent, bluish in nature. The more I work with them, the less translucent they look. They're more like filled out apparitions. But you'll see a lot of them look very tall, very Nordic-like. It's very true. Nothing scary, but this will all be seen you'll see this across humanity as full disclosure takes place. I mean, there are a number of shorter types. You look at the grays, and you look at, well, the reptilians are rather tall, almost the same height. In fact, some are even taller than Pleiadians. But anyway, yeah, there's a range of appearance and sizes there. Do we remember what we did? I'm sorry, this is 43 now. Do we remember what we did and who we were after we passed on into heaven dimension? Yes, you have full access to all information of the life you just lived, as well as the thousands of lives or hundreds of lives you may have lived before. You have full access to all information when you cross over into the heaven dimension. 42, the Alice L. Walton School of Medicine in Bentonville, Arkansas, just opened its doors to its inaugural class. They're devoted to providing a more holistic medical approach to human health. Will they be successful in their mission? And in addition, when will we see more institutions offering high-quality holistic medical programs that deliver high-quality functional and integrative physicians, both in the States and in Europe and the Netherlands, where I'm from? You're going to see an integration of a lot of what I'm going to call East and West medicine very shortly here across many disciplines, so not just universities. This person's asking about the Alice L. Walton School. Yes, they'll be very beneficial. There'll be a benchmark to integrating East and Westernized medicine. And over a few years here, you're going to see a tremendous kind of onslaught of many institutions, the major research universities and medical programs will start to embrace East versus West. Even the smartest doctors understand that, say mechanically, there's certain things they can do for you. They can put new heart valves and they can do certain things to your body, reset bones, but the body has to heal, right? So there's other energy that goes on through the body and other things that happen with our angels and guides. Yes, so this is all part, and the Alice L. Walton School of Medicine will actually be a nice catalyst towards moving this all forward. Congratulations to them. 41. I anticipate that once full ET disclosure takes place, a portion of our minds will open up and more aligned with what is important for humanity and subsequently change our daily focus around our jobs and our living. Is this a correct assumption? Yes, once full disclosure takes place, there'll be a real period of enlightenment for humanity about what the world's about, where we came from, what's the history of the world, what are we really as entities? How does the soul play a role? How does the one force play a role? One force, one source. Yes, all that will create greater enlightenment understanding. And many people on the planet will be open to figuring this out, to like open to the new information. Okay? Yeah. It's all part of the new world. 40 in the countdown. When extremely bad people are here and present on Earth, do they agree to that lifetime for humanity's growth, or is it something else entirely different? Everyone on the planet has a predetermined blueprint life path, good or bad. Everybody's life paths interconnected for the purposes of learning. Yes. So when you look at individuals that are maybe horrible on the planet, there's some change agent responsibility that they're interacting with in humanity. Maybe it's something they did that was so awful that creates better detective ability with law enforcement. A very sampling of DNA. Maybe it's some disease they created that now creates better understanding around medical doctors or health institutions or hospitals. Maybe if it was unfortunate, a suicide, maybe it's a institution or an organization they create to help other families. So yes, everybody's life path interconnects. It's part of a plan that comes down here, good or bad. And I've learned that over decades of dealing with the other side that it all works to a greater good. Absolutely, absolutely. 39. What do portals look like to Homo sapiens sapiens? In many cases, they look like blurred images. So if you think about looking down a hot highway on a very hot sunny day, when you look down, let's say you're driving on the way to Las Vegas for those living on the West Coast in the U.S. If you look down a highway, a very hot day, you see like ripples, what looks like a water mirage. Some portals look like that rippling effect that you see on the pavement. Others, the air looks completely still, and so remarkably still. Now, you're not going to find there are lots of portals around Earth, but most people do not walk through them, do not encounter them. Some are extremely large and they're high up in the sky, like the ones around Skinwalker Ranch. But the closest resemblance of the ones I look at and see and interact with, think about that hot mirage, that water mirage on pavement. You think about that being kind of off in the distance. That's kind of how it looks. 38. Will Russia, India, and China team up to take down the U.S.? Kind of a parallel to an earlier question, but no, they'll certainly try. They've been trying for many decades, but it won't be successful in the short term or the long term. 37, will there ever be a technology that will help correct tinnitus, the ear ringing problem? Where does this actually come from? Is it from frequencies outside or just all inside the brain? It's brain connected. So I'm not a doctor, just no medical background. But what I get from my team all the time is it's a neurological interaction between nerves and nerves in the neck and nerves around the mouth or the teeth. But there are actually going to be nano level electronic devices available within a few years here that will be implantable that will help counteract that ear ringing problem. So probably sets off, if you think about noise canceling headphones, for example, they take a look at all the noises out there and submit 180-degree out of phase noise to cancel it out. But there's something about nanotechnology coming within 5 years. They'll be implantable. That'll be the kind of near-term solution. Longer-term solution will be something that's actually outside the body that you won't have to implant, but it's coming up. 36. Health insurance is so costly for the average American. Do you ever see a time when the U.S. will move over to universal health care? I do, but I'm being told here not till the year 2040. So you're looking at about, a good 15 years out in the future, 15, year 2040, looks like we'll finally have universal health care. And that's health care as defined, health care available for everybody, regardless of your race, ethnicity, income, employment, health care available for everybody. But I'm hearing it's not till like 2040. 35, will there ever be new options for patients needing a pacemaker or have an extremely low heart rate? Here again, advances in nanotechnology, in this case, may be on the surface of the skin within a few years here, I'm being told. So, like, think about nanotechnology, something almost as small as the head of a pin that could be put on the skin that will end up having to have the same effect as like a pacer. Here again, within about 5 years, big development in this area. Remember, the more technology gets developed, and certainly as supercomputers start to come online, the advances in research take much faster. Yeah, coming very, very soon here. And actually, I've just heard full widespread ability, like this nanotechnology for pacer or pacemaker technology, by the year 2035, fully available. 34, with all the great medical breakthroughs you've been describing, will any of these take place in America or other countries since so many America research grants are being eliminated? I actually see a pretty even distribution in medical advances around the world. So regardless of whether like research is being funded, there's independent or privately funded research around the US. But my team's saying kind of an equal distribution around the US, Africa, Europe, Asia, Australia, kind of an even distribution as medical advances start to take place. I think a lot of that's going to be owing to the fact that advanced forms of technology will be more available in all sorts of remote locations. But yeah, even kind of distribution. It won't necessarily be an offset one way or the other around the US, which is what this person is asking. 33, when creating your life path and your blueprint for the next incarnation, do you get ideas about things you want to do and experience from previous lifetimes? Yes, it's always a progression based on the lifetime you just lived. Yep, absolutely. It all moves forward and you learn and you build off of what you learned in prior lifetimes. Absolutely. 32, will there ever be additional major discoveries under the pyramids of Giza in the next few years or sooner? Yes, over the next couple of years here, new discoveries around not just chambers and tunnels, but new power systems under the pyramids in Giza, the new power plant operations of some kind here. They're going to continue to use advanced forms of radar technology to find this. I also see, by the way, that a little bit of push and pull with the local politics or government around these areas where the pyramids are. So like it's like go fast, go slow, go fast, go slow. There's some politics around this, but I do see major discoveries coming. Certainly around they're talking about power plants and power generation and how power was done and created with the pyramids. 31, if a person dies from a drug overdose at a certain age or time in their life, is it possible they could have lived longer if someone had intervened? Could the spring effect of timelines work in these circumstances such that they could have prolonged the death to a later time or later age? So you can never get off the planet if it's not your time. A lot of people, just to use part of this example, drug overdose. Like some people may try to commit suicide 5 different times, but they never get off the planet if it's not your time. They'll be saved every time. Likewise, you can't prevent somebody from their exit time. And there's a little bit of buffer zone there. Sometimes I've seen plus or minus 2 years, so that's kind of true, but you never be able to stop someone's exit. So, in answer to the question, you can't ever really significantly prevent an exit if it's part of a life path plan, and you never get off the planet unless it is part of your plan. You'll actually be turned around. Some people that have NDEs, you'll get turned around by your birth angel and say, this is not your time. 30. If the veil is getting thinner over time, will that indirectly result in a decrease in consumption of movies, entertainment, and video games? No, it will actually increase in everybody's perception of reality and the need for diversion and entertainment. No, it's actually new forms of creativity are coming, and they'll stand on artificial intelligence, not to the detriment of creativity, but actually things like AI will actually enhance forms of creativity and new immersive experiences. 29, will large-scale companies stop outsourcing and bring jobs back to America? No, well, outsourcing will always be a functional part of the economic model for many decades to come, just due to the economies of scale and focus of certain countries. So outsourcing is not going to stop. It's going to shift the balance a little bit, but no, it's not going to stop completely. It's entirety for many, many decades. 28. On your last show, you were speaking of different levels for souls in heaven. So I need to ask, when we cross over, will our loved ones be there to greet us no matter what level they're on? Yes, loved ones will always come around to greet you from the other side. Now, part of the reason people reincarnate all the time is for the elevation, the knowledge in the universe, elevating your soul. Yes, there are thousands of levels in heaven. And yes, if you happen to have a family member who's highly evolved, they're going to be on a higher level in heaven dimension. They can come down to visit. You can't always go up a lot of levels, but I wouldn't worry about that. It's almost like making a phone call, they come down. So it's kind of the way things work around the universe. 27, how can you have senses, sight and sound, etc., in heaven realm if you don't have a body? So these senses are not tied to your physical body, they're tied to your soul. When you think about your senses here on Earth, when you hear something, yeah, there's a physical interaction between your eardrum, your inner ear, and that translates into a messaging or a signal that goes to your brain, your soul. So if you think about the deep connection that occurs to the brain, to your neurological, to your soul, that connection still exists on the other side. So it's not about the physical interface, the interface you're talking about eyes or smell, your nose or your ear. It's about actually how that actually and it directly affects your brain, neurological, your soul. Those interactions, those connections are still available in heaven, in the heaven dimension. All other dimensions, as a matter of fact. 26, does the soul first enter the body at conception or does it enter later at birth? The answer is it's different for the millions of unique souls that come down to Earth, always tied to a birth or a life lesson. Some souls may never come down, even right at birth. Some souls come down the very beginning. Some souls come down right at birth. Some souls, believe it or not, come down after birth. They actually may wait. It's all about a life lesson that soul is trying to experience and learn from in conjunction with the family, friends, doctors around, let's say, that mother. So it is different for the millions of unique souls that come down. That's all part of the energetic lesson that's going on here in the universe. 25. What were the ET's motivation in placing many fundamental races on Earth? Each of Earth's races are very different. Is humanity working through galactic racial issues in our microcosm? No, it's different by design for the larger Earth laboratory. So, not that the extraterrestrials are not working out racial problems from space or the Galactic Federation. It's all part of the big laboratory experiment here on Earth, the most unique place in the universe with a combination of all species and animals, people, races, environments, climates. This is all very unique here and unique to getting humanity to work through many of the issues towards love. What's it all about? Only two energies in the universe, love and fear. Racism is on the fear side. Okay, 24 in the countdown. How will AI, ETs, and spiritual awakening or intelligence work together to create the next evolution of humanity? So these concepts all support each other. They're all complementary, but they're not directly interlinked. So artificial intelligence being a technology, spiritual awakening being something deep in the soul. They're talking about extraterrestrials, knowledge of the universe, technologies, free energy. So these are mutually exclusive. They're complementary, but they're not directly linked, but they all complement each other on kind of the journey for humanity. 23. Hi, Sterling. You recently indicated that a soul can leave the body at the time of death, or in some cases, even sooner. What happens when someone is brain dead for an extended period of time prior to their physical death? Does the soul stay until the body dies? For example, my mother suffered a severe brain bleed and was unconscious for a week before she died. Was her soul trapped in her body during that time? Souls are never trapped in the body. Your birth angels work with you very closely. So in a case where death is imminent as part of your life path, You're actually allowed to separate. Your soul is actually allowed to separate from the physical body if you like sooner. Many times, birth angels will come around you and through discussion with you and your soul and whatever state you're in, say, it's going to be time to leave. Do you want to leave now? Do you want to stay around? Do you want to see how the family's doing? So you actually given that opportunity. This is also true, by the way, in major disasters like airline accidents or things of that nature. You're actually allowed to leave your body before the end trauma, before the body actually gives up. It's very common. 22 in the countdown. Where do fallen angels dwell? Do they ever return to the one source, the one force? So, fallen angels dwell on the lower levels of the heaven dimension. Remember, there are thousands of levels. You're never disconnected from the one source, the one force. May choose not to follow, what love's all about in every dimension, but fallen angels are just on lower levels in the heaven dimension. 21. Sterling, do you see yourself doing private readings again? Yes, we're probably going to have some openings coming up in the first and second quarter of 2026. Got to look at the schedule. Those openings will be announced to the membership first, and then several days later, we'll open it up to the public. But yes, it appears we're looking at the schedule, a meeting with my team, maybe some openings coming up in the first and second quarter of 2026. Again, be announced to the members first, and then we'll open up several days later to the public. 20. You've indicated in the past that technology can eventually be implanted in individuals to assist them in their lives. Do you see this type of implanted technology being used as a form of behavior change for people who have been convicted of murder, rape, instead of a prison sentence? Not necessarily. To some extent, incarceration is still going to be part of society for a few decades, actually. They even have incarceration in extraterrestrial species. However, yes, there will be implantable technology that may help with a certain neurological problem that might be related to criminal activity. So that is true. Yeah. So, but won't take away incarceration. 19, my oldest sister passed away in May 31st. Okay, on May 31st, 2025. My other sister passed away on August 26, 2025, both in this year. The second one claims she saw the Black Hat Man in a spiritual form or apparition shortly before my first sister passed away and said he was very sad. Was this a forewarning of their passing? Yes, the Black Hat Men will come around, not always, but in terms of like a warning, a preparation for some major life event coming up. That's true. It does happen. In this case, this is actually what took place with your family. Sometimes they'll come around in public situations, around airports or military bases or war zones. They'll come around and it's kind of a warning to say something's coming up, be prepared. 18. When you look at the changes coming in the reset 2020 to 2050, how will new economic models evolve? Will AI assist in these changes? So everything in the new economy will have a direct relationship to artificial intelligence because that'll be the backbone, the infrastructure, just like water or electricity throughout the economy. It'll affect every supply chain, health of them, the hospitals, manufacturing, business, economics, banking. Yes, AI is going to be part of the entire fabric of society, and it'll have a component that'll be handling protection, transactions, analysis, development, creativity, be part of the fabric of society that happen in every element of society. 17, what is the best and simplest way to protect yourself along your spiritual journey? I am new to this community. I love it, but then find myself becoming fearful of allowing negative entities upon watching channelers or tarot reading, etc. A simple protective prayer is a great way to start. And you can just say you want to stand in supreme protective white light. And if anything is here that is not of the light, go back to the light, go into the light, don't come back to this location. And you want to ask your primary angels and guides to please step forward and please reveal any messages they have for you. This is a simple protective prayer. You can get more elaborate if you want, but really just asking to stand in supreme protective white light. And any spirits not of the light, please go back to the light. Don't come back to this location. It's a good way to start off. 16. Hello, Sterling. Are there any Anunnaki ETs in your extended team? And if you can ask them when they will return. Yes, there are Anunnaki in my extended team. There's millions of entities to work with all the time. Yes, they'll return as part of the full disclosure. I think you're asking when will they return. They're already around working on Earth, but they're not available to everybody, but they will be as part of the full disclosure process. 15. Red states refuse to sue 45 to restore health funds given to them by Congress. They also refuse to follow many proven health protocols. Will this lead to a substantial number of deaths and injuries to people in red states as compared to those in blue states while 45 is in office? I do see many increased deaths in red states due to kind of laxed policies around health guidelines and medical procedures compared to blue states. I do see the prevalence of a lot of diseases flourishing in red states because if the proper protocols and safety measures are not taken, this is going to cause a lack of control and it will lead to deaths and a lot of issues in many red states. So everybody, I would say, being forewarned is forearmed. Do what you need to do to keep your family safe. Whatever health protocols that you can create for yourself and your family. I'd encourage you to exercise them. I'm not a doctor, but just prudent measures for safety. 14. Hello, Sterling. I met with my niece over the weekend that I had not seen in years. Our conversations led to her referencing the angelic realm and her angelic team. I had a great time in conversations, but wonder, how do you start to develop this understanding overall? Is it independent work, or do you need to work with someone to help guide you? The simplest way is to start immersing yourself and really diving in deep to everything you can, find. Look at books, go to New Age expos, New Age fairs, talk to people. Start experiencing different things. So that's a good way to kind of start understanding and create kind of a really an overall appreciation for what's out there. Try to keep an open mind, but also I always tell people, use your intuition. So make sure if anything you hear doesn't resonate with you, think about your gut level reaction. If it doesn't resonate with you, move on. But start experiencing, immerse yourself in as many areas as you can. Talk to people, again, New Age fairs, expos, that kind of a thing. 13, should we be euthanizing animals when we think they are too old and ill and in pain? Are we ending their life too soon and abruptly? Is it right to make those decisions for their life path? And is it in their life path for that to happen? Remember, everything that occurs down here is part of a life path. Animals are down here to teach us lessons of the heart. They're from the angelic realm. So actually, euthanizing an animal is part of your life path, part of their life path. They actually understand their life path. Nothing is done indiscriminately. Everybody, if you work from a place of love, you're doing what you believe is best for the animal. You're doing maybe what doctors or veterinarians are telling you to do, but it's all part of a life path overall, lessons you're supposed to learn about life and about living and about life is a continuum. There is no birth, there is no death. So, it's all part of the master plan that we're all down here on. And these are life lessons we're learning. So you're really not, even though I know that a lot of people wrestle with, this is a human decision. I'm making this on behalf of the animal. It's the life lessons you go through and the people you talk with and you communicate with and you share the experience with is all part of that life lesson the animal has come down to teach you. 12. The Hubble Space Telescope recently captured an image of an interstellar comet 3I Atlas on July 21st, 2025, when the comet was 277 million miles from Earth. Is this something real? If so, why is it coming? This is a natural space phenomenon. I think we touched on this earlier. A natural space phenomenon. It's not extraterrestrial. I assure you, been dealing with a lot of extraterrestrials over a number of days and weeks here. It's not extraterrestrial. They would not do it that way, but there's a natural space phenomenon, and also it's not going to impact Earth. 11. When 45 is gone from the White House, will the Rose Garden be restored and recreated? Yes, this will all be part of the refresh and reconditioning of the White House. 10. Do angels evolve and expand their consciousness through experiences as humans and other beings do? Does the evolution of consciousness of humans and other beings affect angels? So angels are already fully evolved. It doesn't matter whether we're talking archangels, birth angels, and there's all different types of variety of angels. They're already fully evolved. They're very connected at a very high level to the one source, the one force. Working spiritual guides actually get educated and enriched through your life lessons. They're fully, as working spiritual guides are very advanced. So don't get me wrong, thousands of reincarnations. They rise to the level of being guides. But they still learn through a lot of things that you go through in life. They actually get a benefit from the lessons you learn. They benefit as well. Not the same for angels. Angels are already fully evolved. 9. I have loved Bigfoot since I was a kid. I've heard you say they are shape-shifting extraterrestrial groups that are mining resources on Earth. Through all the sightings and accounts, it is never mentioned if they are mining sites or resources missing. How and what are they mining, and has their practices gone undetected? So they're mining resources deep below the Earth's crust. In fact, areas that sometimes are not even explored by humanity. Many places, I don't know, it's cadmium and uranium and some resources that are available here on Earth, not available in other areas of the galaxy. But that's what they're mining, extremely deep regions beneath the Earth's crust. And that's why it's not detectable. All this will be part of full disclosure when it comes out. 8, when we set up our life plan blueprint, do we also choose our personality characteristics? For example, do we choose our level of emotional or sensitivity, shyness, introversion, extroversion, etc.? Or does that develop as a result of our circumstances or traumas we experience in life? I have always been told I'm too sensitive, too emotional. Did I choose that to assist me in some way for my soul's ultimate growth or purpose? Yes, you select all of your personality traits prior to coming down. And so remember, those are integral to the life lessons and your interactions with people and the life lessons you want to learn. That's a very important component of your physicality and how you interact with other people, and specific to the life lessons you want to learn. 7, what will happen with our relationship with South Korea after Tory Barnum's awful blunder reporting the Korean Hyundai workers to ICE? No real effect with the government of South Korea long term. Looks like this will be a rough part of the road, if you will, a pothole in the road. No real long-term effect from this in terms of relationship with South Korea. Long-term effects for this person here, Tory Barnum, be some very derogatory and problematic effects for her and her career, but not in terms of our relationship right with South Korea. 6, if there is no devil or hell, why do 23% of people experience a near-death experience think they visited hell? They never went through the complete NDE experience. So a lot of people only on the surface just start to enter the NDE experience. So you still got one leg in humanity, one leg in the 3D dimension, one leg in NDE. If you go fully into the near-death experience, you actually enter that complete area of love. You actually end up seeing family members. Some people go so far into the NDE experience, you experience the receiving hall, if you will, where you're received and where a lot of life reviews will start. But characteristically, I hear this all the time. People say, well, why do some people experience what looks like hell? They have not gone fully into the NDE experience. They still have something connected with their human nature, their human mind. 5, some years ago, I was with a group in Saline. It looks like Salinitas Beach, El Salvador. Salinitas looks like, okay? One person in the group was a Sixto Paz follower. She invited us to meet at the beach to salute extraterrestrials that wanted to greet us. The experience was shocking. They appeared in a big rock that moved in front of us. They saluted with a big wave that hit us. They appeared as two wide, tall lines of light dots. Their departure was a flash of light that left to the skies, and the rock moved back into the ocean. My vibration changed for 3 months, where I saw everything beautiful, joyfully, and cities very clean. What type of ETs were these? These were Pleiadians, but they only showed you a partial kind of apparition image of what they're all about. So you didn't see a full-scale apparition, their body type. These are Pleiadians. They are very active down here on Earth, and somebody must have called them in, asked them to participate with you. So they gave you, that's a gift. They gave you that gift. 4, the Murdoch family has just reached a new deal designating that Lachlan Murdoch will take control of a new family trust in a deal worth $3.3 billion, ensuring that his father's media empire will retain its conservative slant. Will this trust remain in place and the world end up with many more years of bias slanted news? You know, for another 5 years, that's going to be the case here with the Fox News empire and the News Corp empire. Another 5 years here, it's going to be a lot of, I'll call it slanted news, maybe not complete truth out to the public. Slanted news. So, yeah, but it looks like for some reason there's a trigger point here in 5 years. So looking at the year, 2030, as we lead up to the 2032 presidential election, where I still see a female president, But yeah, it's going to take that long for things to kind of shift here for Fox News empire. And number 3, number 2, and number 1, I always take notes before I start the show. I will read those notes back to you now. Number 3, do your ET friends have anything they want to share with us? We are working overtime to keep the world safe from any and all natural and human-created disasters. Keep the faith and know that we will all, as well as the entire universe, navigate through the Earth's current challenges. Number 2, what do you see coming up this week? Earthquake in the eastern part of the U.S. that will surprise everyone due to its location. New virus infections discovered in southeastern states that will require immediate attention. Firing of a top elected official by the 45 administration. New discoveries of important rare earth metals in a Georgia location. A stop to major exports from several new countries worldwide due to the 45 administration's tariffs. New plant closures in the central U.S. due to new tariff policies. New vaccination schedules announced for all Western states to prevent spreads of childhood diseases. Bankruptcy announcement of a resort in Las Vegas, Nevada. New information releases on the Air India disaster as it relates to the pilots. And number 1 in the countdown, do you have anything your guides want to share? Keep the faith every day and focus on what you want to achieve, not what you fear will take place in your life. This will elevate your spirit, overall energy level, and ability to meet any task head on. On that note, that concludes the show being recorded today on Saturday, September 13th, 2025. Released to all media platforms on Sunday, September 14th, 2025. As always, if you want to join our Platinum membership, experience live streams I do on Friday mornings Pacific time zone and access to hundreds of videos in the archive. The Platinum membership join button is on the front page of the YouTube channel, Sterling Psychic Medium, as well as the website, sterlingpsychicmedium.com. On that note, going to send out a lot of goodwill and tremendous love to you and your families. Take care. I will see you all again very soon.